Sometimes we choose our destiny. Other times that destiny can be forced upon us.
On Monday, you met Dan McNamee for the first time, a great athlete from a well-known Pike County family. But as WYMT's Eric Ekstrom reports, everything changed 18 years ago.
Stephen Morgan, our greatest triumphs and falls often define our legacy. For Dan McNamee, that moment is like a broken movie reel, replaying in the back of his mind.
The main thing I remember is just kind of falling to the ground and just pretty much feeling numb all over.
I was pretty sure what I saw, and I just stood there for a couple seconds thinking, just get up.
2.5 billion seconds, the approximate sum of an average American life. It only took one, however, to transform 15-year-old Daniel McNamee from a young, promising athlete into a quadriplegic.
You couldn't hear a pin drop in this place. Dan looked like he was shot.
It was 18 years ago, yet the intensity of that evening still seems to burn in the memories of those who were there.
It was really devastating. I mean, we won by I don't know how many touchdowns, and the locker room was just kids crying.
Suddenly, Dan was confronted with circumstances it's hard to imagine anyone, much less a 15-year-old boy, up against. His body, previously a perfectly tuned instrument, was now broken. Within a few hours of the accident, he was airlifted to Pittsburgh for spinal surgery and an intense 3-month rehabilitation. Dan says his darkest hour came on his 16th birthday, his first time in public since the injury.
I thought that I should have been getting my license, I should have been driving. I shouldn't have been in a rehab facility. I shouldn't be in a wheelchair at that time. I probably had a good 10-15 minute cry, and then I was back at it, so I was good.
10 to 15 minutes, barely a fourth of an hour, really. And Dan says the time for self-pity was done. Thus began something no one saw coming. He may have lost the ability to walk, but Dan was stepping into an identity that would become local legend, beginning just a few short weeks after the injury when he returned to high school.
What happened was, and this is pre-social media days, the community had become so enthralled with just how Dan was doing.
Listen to the story of Dan McNamee. He was injured and paralyzed in a high school football game.
We've talked about him for quite a while now and wondering how he's doing, and we've been reading reports that have been given to us by doctors.
And from that enthrallment emerged 4 words that spread like a brush fire.
We pretty much set the season on doing it for Dan.
It was coined by a member of the student council.
A slogan, do it for Dan, and it was encompassed all things, doing it for Dan to win the sports, doing it for Dan to raise money.
And in just a short period of time, thousands were donated to help the McNamees build a new home to accommodate Dan's needs.
Do it for Dan t-shirts that almost seemed like they were out there the next day.
You know, from the school system to people at Mom and Dad's church, just everywhere, really.
And as time went on, it was clear to everyone that something more profound was beginning to emerge.
This thing transcended everything.
I can remember, 4 or 5 years after that, people still wearing those shirts.
It wasn't about sports, it was about a young man, and everyone saw that.
But we just can't really fathom, how it's all happened, but we're really appreciative of it.
Folks say more than anything else, it was Dan's courage and tenacious attitude that made his story so captivating.
As far as being afraid of anything, no. And as far as feeling sorry for himself, never. He maximized what was left as far as his function and his strength.
In the following years, he would earn 2 degrees at Marshall University and have a successful career in the business management and finance industry. And on October 3rd, 2009, Dan married the love of his life, Nikki. The community of Bridgeport never stopped watching.
Dan was never forgotten in this community.
And the way he has lived his life since then, it really sets an example for everybody.
Doing it for Dan was Dan doing it for himself. And because he did it for himself, he did this amazing thing for everyone else.
But for all its inspiration, 18 years later, this journey is still incomplete. Today, Dan is beginning the next and possibly most significant part of the story, starting at the source, where it all began. On Wednesday night, join us as we wrap up our Do It for Dan series. We'll show you how our series has helped Dan to realize his legacy.
Thank you, Eric. You can learn more about this series on our website. We have web-exclusive videos, pictures, and you can leave Dan a comment. Just click on the Do It for Dan tab on WYMT.com. Shane's in next with the wintry forecast.